Today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, because it is a known fact that a lady do carry a devil hat. Hi, ugly. It's me, Bus Coconut Tree, and welcome back to Hat or Rat. And you're in luck because today we've got a double feature. First, we'll be discussing Willam's latest drama with World of Wonder, the production company behind RuPaul's Drag Race, including both her allegations of alleged litigation that will allegedly come to light after this season of All Stars, allegedly, and her apparent boot out of DragCon 2024 that transpired this weekend. Then we'll pop our maple trees to feed the mooses and review the premiere of Canada's Drag Race versus the World Series 2. You're not gonna wanna miss this next piece of hot tea I've got for you. So listen closely, because everyone who does is in for the reward of a lifetime from the sponsor of today's video, Raid Shadow Legends. Wait, what? That mindless meme game? Wrong. Raid Shadow Legends is a deeply strategic free-to-play MMORPG available on both PC and mobile. Seriously though, I thought Raid was a joke until I started playing a couple years ago and absolutely fell in love with the dark fantasy setting and over 800 champions. For example, check out my Kanoichi champion who's got poison piercing abilities, who I've decked out with counterattack artifact sets. But keep listening, because this is where it gets really hot. Because through August 17th, Raid is running their We Finally Played It special event where you can win sickening prizes like a handheld gaming console, drone, and even Amazon gift cards worth up to $2,000. To participate, download Raid using my special link or on-screen QR code, then go to wefinallyplayedit.plarium.com, enter your Raid ID, and upload a video of yourself playing Raid Shadow Legends. Then the community will vote, and the 12 submissions with the most votes will win prizes. So what are you waiting for? Download Raid using my special link or QR code on screen right now. And guess what, Mimi? All new players will get a special reward package to help you get a head start in the game. Plus, epic champion Cheryl and a legendary champion Ninja is finally back, redeemable by new players in Raid with promo code Ninja Returns. And existing Raid players can also get Ninja with the in-game loyalty program. Oh, and once you're in, find me under the player tag Bussy Queen and make sure to join my clan that I've created just for us. Bussy Queen's army, we ride at dawn. And now, without further ado, first up, Willam, Hold the Eye. So in this past week's Race Chaser covering the All-Stars 9 episode 10 Lip Sync Lollapalooza Smackdown for Charity, Willam alleged that World of Wonder will soon be facing litigation related to the treatment of the production company's staff by the queens themselves.
Maybe she's making him stand in the back because that's the best spot that she can keep eyes on them, to make sure that they're not rude to the staff and to make sure that the staff doesn't want to sue World of Wonder afterwards based on the treatment of them by the queens, because we've heard whispers that World of Wonder is facing litigation due to the Queen's treatment of the staff. We know it's happening specifically after this season of All Stars.
But Alaska claims to have no knowledge of what it is that Willam is or is not allegedly talking about. And when Alaska presses Willam for a name, she offers up instead the names of queens who were not the problem.
I don't know anything about any of that. Give us a name, dear.
I know who was not the problem, and I'll tell you that. The girls that were nice were Chanel, Angie, and Nina. They were described as not beasts.
And it was indeed clarified in the podcast that the information Willam is hot gossing about was indeed prefaced with an "I'm not saying this is true, but this is what I heard" style disclaimer.
You're taking this from a text that we both received.
From a trustworthy source.
From someone who said, this might not be true, but...
No, she didn't say that. She said, I'm not saying this is true, but it was overheard in the dressing room, which means it's true.
And as to what the specific alleged mistreatment of the World of Wonder staff member was, or was not, Willam seems to allege in the podcast that there were crew members of the World of Wonder team who had to deal with and dispose of bodily fluids. Specifically, the types of fluids that may congregate in the bladder if you have not visited the little ladies' room in a long time.
Several former staff are suing World of Wonder because of the way they have been treated by queens over the years, which makes sense. Like, disposing of that's not a job, and that's illegal.
Who did that?
Like, several girls have in bottles or trash cans, and then the staff had to deal with it.
And you know, who knows? This is, at the end of the day, just hot goss and is sold by Willam as such. But if any court proceedings do proceed, then we will all probably be very aware of it, because court proceedings are public documents, of which I will add for clarification there are currently none of. Allegedly. And in part 2 of Willam versus the World, we've got Willam apparently getting kicked out of DragCon this past weekend, and whispers of her boot from the con began Saturday afternoon when an ex-user tweeted this out. Wait, did Willam actually get kicked out of RuPaul's DragCon? And Willam responded, yep, listen to the pod this week and watch my YouTube videos of it all happening coming. And then not too long after, we saw Willam begin to promote a video posted to her various social accounts titled DragCons 2024, which begins with her getting in line for a RuPaul meet and greet where she's second in line, and then talking to Courtney Act, Carrie Colby, and then talking to a group of people who seem to be security guards working the con, where we can hear Willam saying this.
She don't like me for some reason. She refunded my booth last year. I'm just catching everybody up.
And she then shows an alleged full security escort out of the con where the person behind the camera informs some other queens they're leaving, and Willam says she's apparently been labeled a risk for the event.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I'm a risk for the event.
Uh-oh.
And it was unclear from the YouTube video exactly how things transpired, but Willam did elaborate in a post to her social media profiles where she wrote, "My story has a link to my free YouTube video that you can walk along with me through DragCon and see them surround me with cops and guards like I was a criminal. They trailed me around the convention center and then waited till I went backstage for the Queen's Walk to descend and encircle me so that they wouldn't be by the fans and cameras. Very smart, RuPaul's DragCon, emphasis on the con. Sorry not sorry I aired your dirty laundry about the sexual harassment your union crew had to endure this past year, and more details on that on Race Chaser Pod this week. I made your event better every year, never charging a single fan for a pick and being a freebie for the fans who deserve it after how you scalp them for coins, and paid full price for a booth every year. Let World of Wonder know what chumps they are and leave a comment on the video or on their page. Sorry for the record low numbers at your event. Oh, and stream Angel of My Dreams now." And later, Sunday late afternoon, she tweeted this out. "Did everyone have fun meeting Strawberry Shortcake and the Teletubbies at the event about drag? At RuPaul's DragCon, bringing children characters to a drag event after we've been called groomers all year? Great idea." Where she then shared some back and forths with users on the platform like these, where someone wrote, "Honestly, they were there in their own little area for the families that brought their kids. It didn't bother me. And kids see some drag as entertainment and fun. It was weird on Drag Race, but at DragCon I don't see an issue." And Willam responded, "I'm glad you had a good time and others there also enjoyed them. They just have nothing to do with a drag convention at all other than the money they gave World of Wonder to be on the show and at the con." And that is the tea. For now. Allegedly. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the premiere of Canada's Drag Race versus the World Series 2, in which our internationally acclaimed queens were challenged to split themselves into 3 different girl groups to write lyrics for and perform choreography to the following tracks: Bopulence, This Beat, and Tongue Pop. That was a tongue flop. Hold on. Your mouth has to be the right consistency of wet and dry, and often when I've been talking too much, it can be very difficult. Hold on. Ooh, that was it, bitch. Okay. And the runway category was my very best drag. First up, and in the order they perform their girl group numbers, we've got the divas from Just Divas performing Bopulence. It's Alexis, Mateo. Bam! And y'all, as the judges called out, it became very clear very quickly that Alexis Mateo was the standout in this group. And as the nominated choreographer of her group, it made absolute sense that she was on top of every single beat in this track, and performed with more energy and charisma than both of her other group members combined. The only criticism I think we could give her performance was like, some of the English lyrics were a little bland, sure, but when she was singing in Spanish, it sounded great. La diva siempre la más perra. This performance was muy caliente. And on the runway, she is giving royal blue pageant perfection. And y'all, the bitch looks good. There's just really not much else I can even say here besides this is Alexis Mateo at her best, feeling her best, and giving her best. This is high drag and high glamour done in that traditional pageant style that is definitely a craft of its own, and one that we don't see too often these days in our newer queens. So props to ya mama, this look was hot. And next up, are you hungry? Because we've got the pork chop of Drag Race France, it's La Kahena, who in the challenge is the first to choose her song, yet passes up an opportunity to partner with Kennedy Davenport in Tongue Pop, which is crazy because this is a girl group challenge where dancing is important, and you pass up the queen who literally calls herself the dancing diva of Texas, who is also known to be like one of the nicer queens of the franchise and who definitely would have given you some words of advice and wisdom, all because you're scared that she might challenge your abilities a little bit. I don't know. That was just really crazy to me. Anyways, this trepidation we see here unfortunately bubbles up in the actual challenge performance as well, because she's really not a great dancer. Like, she was consistently a beat behind the other girls and messing up steps and just kind of generally looking around confused or like she wasn't sure what to do next. Her verse though was pretty fun, even if I had mostly no idea what she was saying because she was bouncing back and forth between French and English so much. But I did catch little bits like tucking her Eiffel Tower and talking about Brooklyn Heights and something about Versailles. But yeah, the lack of stage presence and inability to keep up with the choreo really ruined her performance for me, so I'm gonna give this a But over on the runway, I wasn't really impressed either. And I'll say I do really like the beautiful scorpion jewelry that she's wearing around her neck, but the rest of the look is like a head wrap and a skirt. On a Versus the World season where she's being asked to bring her very best drag, this look presentation is just nowhere near the polish that it needs to be standing on a stage next to the likes of queens like Alexis and Kennedy, and really everyone else there. It's definitely a I do think she deserves a little bit of credit for the absolute nerve that it took to come to this season. Because this was from like less than a year after her elimination from Drag Race France, where she went home first. Which I'm really bringing up to say, there was no time for a glow up to happen. But maybe by the next Global All-Stars versus the rest of the galaxy, she'll be ready. God, am I a bitch? Put a little chapstick and eyeliner on and I become such a bitch. Next up, Eureka, you found it, who in the challenge, I was actually surprised to see her struggle so much. Because even in the beginning of her group's number, like she is not remembering simple moves like turns in place with the rest of her group members. And she just generally looks disinterested. But I couldn't tell if this was an attitude problem or if she was maybe just having a bigger issue that day until her solo in the performance came on. Because it was like she flipped a charisma switch and turned into that stage-ready powerhouse of a performance-ready queen that we know her to be. And the judges absolutely clocked this tea as well. But it was like, Eureka, we can see that you clearly are just not caring, and then all of a sudden you're caring a lot when the spotlight is shining directly on you. But maybe she was just tired because this is her 57th time on Drag Race, who knows? I'm gonna give this a warming up. And over on the runway, she comes out in a giant pink, fluffy, frilly circle, which reveals to a fairly modest little dress underneath. This apparently was an outfit she was intending to wear to celebrate her natural body and trans identity, which I guess explains the lackluster reveal and the big pink fluffy ball, which apparently was supposed to be an elephant, being like a metaphor for her wearing her drag. And I kind of had mixed feelings here because there are parts of this look I like, which are the wig and crown. They're very draggy and the general message of this look is good. But the execution on this look was honestly bad, and the tiny details were not paid any attention to. And I feel like she was kind of trying to hide the sloppiness of this look behind a positive message. And even Brooke clocks her on that weird little bra thing that's sticking out under this dress. This, as we know, is not Eureka's best drag. I'm gonna give this a And next up, we've got the girls from The Face performing this beat. And first up, we've got Tynomi Banks, who opens up their number pretty strongly. I feel like she really commands the stage well, and I had a lot of fun with her. There are some moments though where she seems to kind of struggle or make everything not look so effortless, like when she's trying to come back up from the split and maybe spends a little bit too long trying to get back up while the spotlight is still on her alone. Which says to me, maybe she was just a tad too ambitious, but hey, at least she gave it her all. This performance was a But over on the runway, as a piece of art, I think she looks great. She's giving us chocolate dipped pheasant ready for the Hunger Games. And oh my God, I'm literally turning into Chad Michaels. I think this is like the second or third time I've talked about Hunger Games in my videos recently. And I'm gonna blame Chad Michaels on that because I was watching that video of her constantly referencing that during All Stars 1. The bitch was obsessed.
May the odds be ever in your favor, darling.
Anyways, Tynomi looks beautiful, but the second she starts to move, we see that this is not a very good piece of wearable fashion because she is struggling the house down boots to walk down that runway. And it wasn't like a glamorous little tiny step type of struggle. It was like a, I literally can't walk and I'm about to fall struggle. And we can see pretty clearly that the fabric the skirt part of this gown is made out of just doesn't seem to have a lot of give, and it's cut with a really low waist, which are all things contributing to this issue she's having where she can't move. And so I give this look a warming up. And next up, it's LaFille, who assumes the leadership position in this group and does a really great job on, I think, making everybody feel comfortable while still giving them a bit of challenge in the choreo. And her performance in her group really stood out to me because she sang her verse and she's got a great voice. And I love how you can hear how smart and cerebral she is in her songwriting, using big words. And of course, hitting all of her trademark drag identity brand items like being androgynous, having a very beautiful feminine face, and really embracing writing that line of gender drag. Plus, she absolutely nailed the physical performance part of this challenge, and this was hot. And over on the runway, she's not chasing dragons, she is the Boom Boom Dragon. And she here is very clearly paying homage to her Chinese heritage, dressed as a larger-than-life, fashionable, yet cartoonish, and campy, fun dragon. I absolutely love the detail of the dragon's eye being in those giant trumpet shoulder pads. And I love how the silhouette she's created here is really fun, yet still wearable and fashionable. This was totally hot. And I know we haven't talked about anyone else's entrance look, but hers with the helium balloons holding up her hair was absolutely batshit crazy, and I think was a great example of where the insanity in her drag can go. And next up, it's day one and the sabotage has already started. It's Miss Fiercalicious, who says she's been taking dance classes to improve for this season of Drag Race, which I think was something that was readily apparent. And her group members do seem to criticize that while she's not the best dancer, she maybe is the most improved, which is something I can agree with, because like she didn't stand out as the best, but she also didn't stand out for being bad. There were some shots though right at the beginning of her performance where she's just kind of looking bored or disinterested, where I think she probably was just in her head thinking about the choreo, but it was just like so funny to hear this like high BPM song and she's just over there like deeply contemplating life. This was hot. And over on the runway, Fiercalicious gave us an absolute highlight of the night where she showed off her new and improved, not perhaps dress, but perhaps gown. And for those of you that didn't watch her original Canada's Drag Race season, for a little context, she here is referencing the infamous dress that she created, which became a bit of a viral meme on the X platform, which yes, she did also wear for her entrance look. And that was intentionally bad. Like that is part of the joke that she is very much in on. Did you see her wowie? Wowie. Anyways, I really enjoyed this for the joke that it is. And honestly, like this is drag. Drag is pop culture eating itself alive, digesting itself, eating itself out, and eating it again. And finally collapsing into a big, beautiful blue and red flower. This look is hot. And next up we've got Tongue Pop performed by the Slapbacks, which is, as we'll see, very much a track intended to be a clapback. And first up we've got the dancing diva of Texas herself, Kennedy Davenport, who we do learn in the episode has a new partner, which is very exciting because they're very much in love and support each other. And she does say in the episode that they as a couple are expecting, which is really beautiful news, but I am sad to report we did learn this is no longer the case when Kennedy Davenport shared this message to her social media platforms this past weekend. Good morning, everyone. As I head into the last day of DragCon, I have to take this opportunity to stay transparent to my friends, my fans, and community. Unfortunately, while I was filming, Messiah Adonis and I miscarried. This was back in March. Now, we are in a good headspace to talk and share. We both understand that God makes no mistakes, and we understand what he has for us will be for us. I want to thank you all for the love and support you've shown us thus far. We are good. And moving on to how she performed in the challenge. Wow, she absolutely ate the girlies up for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, seconds, and thirds, and with ease. And like, obviously, we know she can dance. That's her thing. But she also proves that she can sing and rap, and I love the ad-libs she started her group's performance off with. Girl, if somebody didn't like me, I wouldn't even know it. Where she then proceeds to outdance every single other queen in this competition and ends her little segment with a front cartwheel. I really missed having her on my screen. My God, this was... And over on the runway, evening gown, you know she's got it. Sickening drag, you know she's got it. And Miss Kennedy here really is in a category of her own, kind of like Alexis tonight, where they are just doing their own thing of that high drag, glamour, pageantry, beautiful glamazon amazingness. And yes, it is a known fact that a woman do carry an evening bag at dinner time. This look was hot. And next up, Cheryl minus the hole, who during rehearsals for this challenge is kind of playing Malcolm in the middle here, with Kennedy and Lemon seeming to butt heads over their ideas for how the choreo should go. But where she too also has her own conflicting opinions with how things should all play out, because she wants to approach this more like a Spice Girls girl group type of performance. And Kennedy and Lemon are both really trying to be their own individual Beyoncés. And Lemon even says to Cheryl at one point, well, we're all the dancers of the group, so I figured we could really dance. For all the drama and rehearsals, Cheryl really turned this out. Hers is really fun, and I enjoyed her rap at the end where she's saying, more lipsticks than a makeup store, showing you one by one the door, you'll be screaming she's a it's okay, there's always season 4, where she then death drops. And she's got this very self-aware sense of humor that comes through in every aspect of this performance. And even though I think she may be a little too hung up on the whole I'm not mediocre anymore thing, because I feel like she should just show it instead of say it over and over, she's a queen that I know I will always enjoy whatever it is she's doing. This was and over on the runway, her best drag is giving white party. Girl, stay away from Fiercalicious. The juice is coming from that look. You don't want those to be on on that gown. Her look is very pretty, and I don't think this is like the craziest thing we've ever seen from Cheryl, or maybe even not the most beautiful, but it's a solid look. And I do agree with what Brooke said about the look being a little distracting in the neck area with all those feathers, because it wasn't just the neck area, but the ostrich feathers in the other parts of the look that I think were just kind of swallowing it whole a bit. That's where her hole went. But this look is pretty, and I'd give it a safe hot. And finally, it's the queen of the verse who always bottoms first. It's Lemon, who in the challenge absolutely made the right decision of choosing the team that had Kennedy and Cheryl on it. And I love the absolute confidence and nerve Lemon approaches this challenge, from singing to dancing and everything in between. Because after all, she is a self-proclaimed rapstress who wrote her entire album herself. And she did talk a big talk in the rehearsals, but she walked that big walk. And her verse is one of those raps that's really fun to listen to over and over, because you start to hear new wordplays each time. Lemon got them on they tippies like they Lynn Heights Brooke, cause you know, she's a ballerina. And fun little I'm better than you lines like playing chess, I'm a queen and you're only a rook. And I'll say she definitely had the most fun rap verse in her group, but maybe not the best choreo of the three. But this performance is absolutely 5 out of 5 hot flames for me. And over on the runway, she is literally stoned from head to toe. Brad did clock that rhinestone heel. And this look is that perfect blend of glamazon and just totes adorbs that she captures so well in her drag. She's like, I'm a little frilly lemon princess wearing my tutu, but it's also a very fashionable gown with a sickening silhouette and very clearly defined curves and a point of view. Our little lemon is all grown up, elegant, fierce, and hot. And the top three of the night, no surprise, are the three girls from the Slapbacks, which included Lemon, Kennedy, and Cheryl Hull. And the ultimate win goes to Lemon, although I do think that Kennedy could have been a great argument for a win here as well. And this is where the episode gets really good. Because like, I was enjoying everything that was happening, but this is where we get the juicy drama. Because the twist of the season is that we're doing lip sync for your lives, and the Golden Beaver is in play, which means that the winner every single week is going to get the opportunity to use the beaver on one of the bottom three girls to save them from lip syncing. And the bottom three, we learn, are the girls from Bopulence: Alexis, Eureka, and Kahena. Again, no surprise. And like, if the girls were being judged individually, obviously Alexis wouldn't be in the bottom, but they are being judged as a group, and so I understood why she was there. And because Alexis did so well and absolutely knows that she shouldn't be there in the bottom, and it was only because of her group that she was, we see some really fun interactions between her, Eureka, and Lemon all play out. In Untucked, where our bottom three are supposed to be pleading their case, we first hear Eureka talk about how she doesn't think that she should lip sync because she simply doesn't want to, and goes on to say about how she's turning a new leaf and doesn't want to be that old Eureka that just focuses on herself anymore. But then proceeds to brag about having the best critiques of her group, and really does everything except accept responsibility for her poor performance this week in the challenge. And this is where Alexis Mateo proceeds to drag Eureka's ass through the coals. She steps in and she's like, now wait a damn minute. This competition is not a joke to me. This is serious. This is how I pay my bills. And Eureka is making a joke of this entire thing, and I don't appreciate that. And we even hear Kennedy in confessional saying that, yeah, Alexis obviously did better. Even Ray Charles would know that, and he's blind and dead. But the Alexis versus Eureka drama was not finished there. It also continued online this week with a post to Alexis's profile where she wrote, "Don't forget, in a TV show, a lot is left out of editing. I will never stay quiet for nothing. I do love Eureka. Don't get that twisted. That's my sister. Hashtag good TV." Where Eureka responded, "Girl, they did not edit that scene. We said what we said. But they did edit our love for each other. But there's more episodes to go. I still don't want to lip sync." And Alexis responds, "It was the part of your costumes left out. Did you forgot? It was edited out of your speech and mine too. Maybe you forgot like you forgot to reply to my text messages this week. Don't just love me in public. Winky face." And Eureka responds, "Girl, I've been sick, don't try it." Where Alexis writes back, "You're not sick to write in here." I see. And Eureka responds, "Sister, I love you. It's been a tough week. Forgive me for not responding. I'm pulling myself together." And in that same thread, Eureka responded in a separate reply, "Oh Lord, here she goes," which Alexis responded, blocked, with the angel emoji. And Eureka wrote, "LOL, what?" And at some point, Eureka deactivated her account amidst all this, but reactivated and did make some more posts regarding the situation. In one, she wrote, "I didn't want to lip sync because I hate eliminating people. It really hurts my heart." And Miss Fiercalicious responds, "Girl, don't lie." And Eureka responds, "You're right. I just didn't want to do it." And then the next day, Eureka came back to the platform with her usual optimism and confidence, writing, "Hey, bitch, I just want to say the results are in. We slayed this challenge and should have won. Prove me wrong. Honestly, I loved working with my group. When I tell you Alexis had me and Kahena laughing so much, that's why they asked me to go check in on the other team just so they could get a soundbite. Hashtag just divas." And after deliberations, Lemon is sat there with the Golden Beaver keep her in her lap, faced with a very tough decision. She's got the emotional choice there to save Kahena, someone whose heels she's been in and circumstance she understands, because after all, Lemon also had been in the bottom of her first 2 seasons of Drag Race, just like Kahena. And this choice would be not only an emotionally charged one, but also a strategic one, because it would mean that 2 of the fiercest competition in the group could be facing an elimination. And then she's also got the fair choice of saving Alexis Mateo, because she did, even according to the judges, get the best critiques of her group. But I will also say this was a strategic decision, because would you really want to piss off Alexis Mateo? No, I don't think so. Especially not after that impassioned speech she gave about Eureka making a joke of the whole competition. And so Lemon does end up saving Alexis from the bottom 2, even though we had Fiercalicious whispering in her ear that the girls who've been there multiple times have had plenty of time to show off their drag, and maybe they should get cut if they end up in the bottom. And when she said that, I was dying, because that is just so Miss Fiercalicious. But it kind of made me scared for her to play her cards like that so early and be transparent with how she might treat an elimination should she be in those same heels in the future. And as much as she might think that there's a Canadian alliance or whatever happening maybe behind the scenes, it's scary to me as a fan of hers to know that the only real alliance happening is actually the one between Cheryl and Lemon. And finally, concerning the lip sync between Eureka and Kahena, I did react to this over on my Patreon, and you can watch that by clicking the link in the description of this video. See you there. But my thoughts on this are that the judges made the right call. Eureka stays after giving a better lip sync, although Kahena did a really great job. And as I was watching her give that really passionate lip sync performance, I was wondering, where was this during the main challenge? But all things considered, I mean, you know, it just kind of was clear I don't think she was quite ready for this competition. And Eureka really did kill this lip sync. And so Kahena ends the episode as the very first double pork chop of the Drag Race franchises, which honestly sounds good. I'm hungry. I'm so hungry. And now for hottest hots. In the challenge, I'm gonna give it to Kennedy Davenport. And on the runway, I'm gonna give it to Lemon. But I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hots, and they had other thoughts. In the challenge, they're gonna give it to Lemon, and on the runway, Alexis Mateo. Bam! And I just want to give an extra special thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Raid Shadow Legends. Don't forget to download Raid using my special link below or on-screen QR code, and participate in their special event, We Finally Played It. Because when you do, you've got a chance to win some sickening real-life prizes. Downloading Raid would really help the channel, and also, I know you're gonna have a ton of fun playing it. See you in the game. I got it! I got it! And finally, I want to give an extra special shout out to Ashley Brungart, Ashton, Felicia, Laura, Matthew Burns, Mikal Minst, and Will and Tanner, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier at patreon.com. See y'all later. Love ya. Bye.